test flight.
Test flight 1.
Visual crash. This is glue. This is glue. I could paper it. I could have built one. I don't know what happened. Speed controller's not even a least bit hot. Motor's a little warm.
another one and catch it.
It's not changing your life. You'll be doing that to my wires, buddy. Look, you already broke one of them. These are expensive. That ain't, buddy. You act like you got one leg or something. Yeah, it's just until they figure out what's going on. Yeah, that's Heather used to take that. Heather used to have to take that. Battery troubles.